Earlier this year, I talked about the big Hoyoverse 3, Zenless Zone Zero, Genshin Impact, and Honkai Star Rail. Now it's been about a year, just maybe a little bit over a year, since starting, specifically with Zenless Zone Zero. This is going to be the 1-year review and summary of the game and how the account has been, where I am currently, and just overall thoughts on the game, how has the game changed, so on and so forth. I'm only going to be talking about Zenless here, so we're not going to be stacking all three into one video like last time. I really want to give each game its own time so I can really flesh out my feelings and give a more accurate interpretation to the way that I feel. And this is coming from the perspective of someone completely free to play. I have not spent a single cent. Now, I'm not a day one player. I'm pretty much a week one player. So this video is a little bit late, but I recently just got the 365-day login achievement, so it's kind of on time. I'll start with the more general aspects of Zenless, starting with the characters. When I made the first video, I think Astra Yao was the newest character, and now the most recent character is Alice. And from the character design standpoint, I still think this game does not have a single dud character. Every new patch has the new character stand out in their own unique way, which is nice. Character design is still one of the strongest aspects of Zenless Zone Zero. It is what got me interested in playing the game in the first place, so it's nice to see that trend continue into later versions of the game. I haven't felt compelled to pull for every character, but when someone shows up that I kind of want, I haven't really been left disappointed. And you can tell they really focus on the characters because the story is mostly just character based. We've only really gotten a drip feed of actual plot, maybe about midway through 1.0, and then obviously at the start of 2.0, which kind of stinks. I can't say Zenless has the most gripping plot, only because we have only the very basic aspects of protagonists, antagonists, and character motivations. So the characters being really good helps. The characters and animations are definitely doing some heavy lifting here. And something that I saw early on when the game first launched were the cutscenes, and the cutscenes are still good. I know people were complaining about how over animated the game is. I don't know if it was a big thing. I just remember seeing it maybe a couple times. I like it. Sometimes it is a little too much, and I might be repeating myself, but I would rather the game be over animated than under animated. Big shout out to black screen with text. The over animation does also help give Zenless its own identity because there's not really anything else that looks like Zenless right now, at least off the top of my head. Something that did not continue going forward was the TV mode. And back when I talked about it earlier this year, they were already starting to phase it out a little bit. By the time I had talked about it, they had just, I think, implemented the replacement platforming stages for the main story. And I think there was an event that kind of showcased it off a little bit. But TV mode is non-existent now. That's something I know people didn't like. I didn't hate it, at least in the sense of I didn't dislike the idea. I like that it kind of had a real world and then a computer world. I mean, it was the Hollows, but it was kind of I compared it to Mega Man Battle Network, and I kind of liked that feeling, but it was just too much and it was just too repetitive, and it being removed was greatly beneficial to increasing the enjoyment of Zenless Zone Zero. The sort of pseudo replacement that we have now in Season 2 are these sandboxy explorable areas that you use your selected agents to explore. It's not like open world, but I think it's closer to the idea that we, the players, had in our heads to how the gameplay should be broken up, or at least structured. And there's some battle encounters and some puzzles that you can do. And overall, it just has a better game feel. It showcases the gameplay and combat better than scrolling through TVs until you randomly fight someone. And when I see all these changes, I can't help but think what the development team was going to do initially with the story, because they've kind of had to play it by ear a little bit and clearly make some changes that were maybe not initially thought of when TV mode was more prominent. Another new feature that was implemented in Season 2 is the temple crafting management. It's more of a passive style thing, similar to the video store management. So there's not too much to talk about. It's very similar, besides just collecting materials automatically, picking what to build, and then either leveling up the temple or using it for additional weekly rewards. So it's nice that there's a little bit more to collect every 2 weeks, I believe, but it's pretty boring. It's a pretty nothing system. It doesn't really add much besides some pretty hefty upfront rewards and then just more generally useful items later on. Something that I didn't talk about last time, I don't think it was implemented, or it was very early on and I didn't try it yet, was the Endless Tower. And I maybe didn't talk about it the last time because it was pretty generic. You just kind of went up floors that got progressively more difficult. And with my team, it was kind of just a cakewalk. It didn't really impress me. Now they've implemented another Endless Tower. This one has more of a Devil May Cry style building, score attack system in it. And it's a lot more difficult. I cleared the first few floors without too much difficulty, and then it just kind of ramps up, and I've just not really been able to clear it within like good margins for me to really feel confident in my skill. And it's not even a skill thing, and I'll talk about that later, but they've definitely upped the challenge and interest in this feature. The timed events we've been getting in Zenless have been really good. The generic ones have just been kind of okay. You know, the overworld puzzle ones, the just turn in some items, pretty inoffensive. The more unique ones have been really engaging. There was the Fall Guys event. That one was really fun, and they included multiplayer, which really helped. They recently did a auto battler kind of teamfight tactics style event, and that one was good. And the ones with different gameplay styles like the mech or the flower one have also been okay, but not as memorable. The flower one is just a reskin of the Star Rail bar event. I think those multiplayer specific ones have just been really good. And honestly, it helps to break up sort of the monotony of all the combat. So it's nice that they have an idea of how to freshen up the experience within something that is pretty repetitive. And the rewards are nice too. And I'm not just talking about the character level up stuff. I mean like the extra pause screens. It's just nice to get a little extra something on top that you're going to see multiple times, or to give you a little bit more customization. And I'm pretty sure I've completed most, if not all, the events. When you're free to play, you're kind of locked into the drip feed and just trying to scrounge up as much as you can. There's been a lot. There has been a lot for you to collect, and I think I've kept my account pretty, not competitive, but viably competent. I mentioned early on I was really struggling to sort of build a good team with the Shiyu defense. I couldn't fully S rank it for a few weeks up until Caesar came out. And ever since Caesar was released, I've been able to just make teams and continuously S clear it from that point forward. I think there was maybe 1 week where I didn't, only because I didn't really have a specific team built, just because I haven't been able to pull for all the characters. And Deadly Assault was also something that I kind of struggled with. When that first launched, I could clear it easy, but after the first week, they kind of dialed it up a lot, and I couldn't get all the rewards that really mattered, which were the polychrome. But that didn't really last for that long. I think it was about when Vivian came out. When Vivian came out and Jane got her rerun, picking up those two characters, which drained the account, by the way, those were characters I was able to fill specific roles, and that was another sort of boost in power to the account. Deadly Assault, sometimes I can't get fully 9 stars, but honestly, 7 to 9 is always within range. I can't really complain. And it's hard for me to talk about power creep because I've always kind of been in that range of being able to clear most of the content completely. The dev team going back and buffing Ellen was really nice, and it's nice to know that they are going to be looking at these older characters to see who maybe needs a boost. I have a feeling the Ellen rerun did not do well, which was kind of the solidifying factor of we need to buff this character. So probably if a character does a rerun, and they have the stats to find out like they're not really doing well, that probably gets them on the buff list. Even with Ellen's new abilities, I still don't really use her. I think maybe once or twice Deadly Assault had 2 ice teams, but like that was it. Miyabi is still one of the best characters, if not still the best character. But I think I have a good feel for the game on who is really good and who kind of isn't really pulling their weight. I did rely a lot on tier lists early on, but now I'm kind of done. I kind of have a feel for the game. I kind of know the characters I like. I kind of know the characters that I want to build, or at least I can kind of eyeball who would be beneficial for me and who is maybe someone who's worth a skip. I will watch maybe some preview videos of people on the beta servers to maybe get an idea. But that's pretty much it. I'm not really looking to see who is like, you know, tier 0 or tier 1. I'm pretty much coming to my own conclusions on that. Tier lists, I think, are definitely more beneficial for newer players, especially on limited resources. But a year into these games, I do kind of have an eye for these things now, at least a little bit. Overall, Zenless is still really fun. It was the game that got me back into playing gachas, and I haven't really regretted it. The combat is still snappy, still really good, and for a free-to-play gacha game, I think it offers the best combat right now. The new characters all feel really great, with the exception of a couple. I do regret pulling Silver Ambi, only because she's a character you really need to invest into, it seems like, to really have her do well, which at the time of pulling, I thought it would be okay to maybe have some substitutes. It kind of depends. It depends on the situation if she's good or not, and maybe I just need to up my gear a little bit. I definitely need to up my gear on a lot of characters. It's definitely suboptimal, but it's all luck-based, and I'm starting to think more vertically now rather than horizontally. First starting, I wasn't really thinking about pulling dupes, but now I've kind of settled in on who I like and who I think will continue to do well. And that's kind of what I meant when I was talking about the battle tower, is that mode has really amplified how much more important it is to invest vertically into your characters rather than horizontally, at least at a certain point. I could probably get a decent chunk of power just from getting good rolls on equipment, but the battle tower seems to be pushing more for vertical investment. And I've kind of just got that mindset that I will maybe focus more on that going forward, but we'll see. I'm probably going to stick with Zenless. You know, this video kind of being a little bit late does tell you that I did take a little bit of a break. There was a point where I was kind of just not playing as much. I think it was when Monster Hunter came out. I just was not really interested in playing or keeping up, and I was logging in like every other day. So my 365-day achievement came a little bit late. Devs have been pretty generous. The rewards are plentiful and nice, and I haven't really felt the urge to really spend. Maybe on some of the costumes, but not really. And that's kind of it. I know a couple characters are going to be getting buffs in the future, so that's nice. But I'll probably just continue to just log in, clear my dailies, and just enjoy the content. I don't really have anything more to say, so thanks for listening. Alright, that's going to wrap up this video. If you watched it all, thank you so much. You made it to the end. You get the spiel. If you liked, leave a like. Leave a comment if you have anything to say or questions, and I'll get back to you. And subscribe. YouTube, Twitter, it'll help me out. Working on a couple other things. I know this one, it came out, it came out way later than I wanted it to. But you know, I'm juggling a couple things, and it's a little tough to get it all together. I think I will go back to writing scripts. It's a little tough to just work with the points, but I think it helped in the process, at least to do it a couple times. That's going to be it. You can probably guess what the next video is going to be, so keep an eye out. I'll try to get that out sooner, but we'll see.